Hi everybody and welcome to the video. I'll be showing you how to make a game ready asset in Blender and Marmoset Toolbag 4. I'm using Blender 4.2.1, you can see that in the bottom right hand corner. I've created a collection called Hand Blade, so that's where I'll be placing everything that's related to this model. And after that, which is next, we're going to load a reference image, which is the sketch I have. Then we'll create some guide curves, and then we'll start modeling. Let's go to front view, press Shift A, and go to Image, Reference. And I'm going to navigate to the sketch that I have just there, and add the empty image. And that's actually gone into the Hand Blade collection, of course. I'm going to bring that outside and call that sketch. Let's select the Hand Blade collection. Right, so there it is. And before we can start, we need to make that a little bit more inconspicuous, I guess. And let's turn on opacity. Let's bring that down to something like that. And let's turn off selectability. Cool. Let's give ourselves a bit more space. Select our collection there. Okay, so there's several ways we can do this. You could start modeling directly with a plane and then extruding the edge going along. But what I'm going to do before I do that is create some guide curves. And the reason I want those is because I want to follow this curvature, and my sketch isn't perfect, of course, it's by hand. So I want to add some curves there that I can use as reference points or guides. So in fact, I'm going to create a new collection and call those curves. I'll call that curves. And we're going to do Shift A and go up to curve and add a bezier. Of course, that's going to put it in that orientation, which is fine. So what we're going to do is rotate that on the X. So I'm going to press RX90, and now it's facing us in the front view. And I'm going to apply the rotation. I should have mentioned as well, I'll be using my add-on BB Toolkit Pro and Free. Check that out in the description, link in the description. But you can do exactly the same stuff as the add-on. This just helps me get stuff done quicker and it's more accessibility. So anyway, moving on. So I've got the, obviously, Shift A brings up the, oops, not Shift A, Control A brings up the apply menu. So if you're not using the add-on, just click Control A and apply the rotation. Right, with that done, I'm going to tab into edit mode on the curve. I've got pie menus on, that's why you get this pie menu. You may not get that. And now what I'm going to do is select these points, and I'm actually going to use the transform gizmo and move that point to approximately there. Do the same for this one here and move the owner over to the other side. Something like that. And now we can start grabbing these handles and shifting them around. Let's bring this one down. So I want to get a profile curve that's kind of as close to my sketch as I can get it. Maybe scale this one down. Might be a little bit fiddly. Let's get that. You see, it never quite matches up, but it's close enough. This one's slightly off. Can we do anything about that? I don't know. Let's move that over there. And that's messing up all of the other ones, isn't it? Of course it is. That's close enough. Let's go with that. So we have one curve for that profile at the top of the blade. Now, you may have noticed when I'm zoomed in, you can see you've got some rather large jaggies. And that's because if we head over to our curve properties there, we've got this resolution preview U, and that's the resolution you see in the viewport. So what I'm going to do is crank that right up to 36. And that gives you a much finer step in. So I'm going to duplicate that with Shift D and bring that down to, let's go there. Let's tab into edit mode, select that point and move it there. So the same process, create your curve guides, your guide curves. What are words, eh? I'm getting them all mixed up. Let's see how that goes. In fact, we can put this mode into tweak, which it is now. We just click and drag without having to select the gizmo. That's looking pretty good. Maybe this one here a little bit more. Yep, happy with that. Tap into object mode. Now you can see we've got two curves like that. So we're going to continue doing that. And at this point, I'm probably going to fast forward the video. You don't have to sit here and watch me do this. And essentially, I'm going to create another curve going for this part here that you can see there, and probably one there as well, and there. So I shall jump cut to that. And welcome back. So I've completed all the curves, and if I just select them all, you can see those are the curves that we have. So now we can start actually modeling the blade itself. So as I mentioned earlier, there's many ways you can start doing this with a single vertex or a plane or anything really. But let's start with a plane. So I'm just going to click plane there and add the plane. And of course that's facing this way. So I'm going to rotate that on the X by 90 degrees. Just click one on the numpad, go back to our front view. And you can see there we have a big plane and we don't really want that. So I'm going to go into edit mode, select all of our vertices by clicking A and then M to merge at center. Now we have just a single vertex. Go back to object mode. There's our object there, single vertex. Now I'm going to move that. Let's put that, say there. In fact, I've turned on vertex snapping, so if I grab this now and hold down the control key, it will snap to the end of that curve, just there. So now with that vertex, our plane object there, let's tap back into edit mode, select that vertex and press E to extrude. And I'm just going to keep this fairly low poly. So I'm pressing E as I go along, like that. And we'll give that 3 subdivisions for now there. We'll come back and refine that a little bit more later on. So now we want to just go and trace around this whole blade. So let's do E. And you want to try and keep these distances fairly consistent. So I'm going to go with something like that. And for now, I'm going to ignore the damaged parts to the blade. We can add that later on. So we can use the curve there as a guide now. In fact, we can turn off the sketch. We still can't really see the guide clearly, so let's put that back. Yeah, let's just continue doing that. I sense another jump cut coming along. I don't think you want to sit there watching me doing this either. And let's do 3. Maybe not a jump cut just yet. Let's just do this part. And again, we'll hold down control, snap that to that one there. Back to object mode. Now we have this. It's essentially just a bunch of edges and vertices. There's no geometry in this. So with that done, we can actually start extruding this upwards to reach the other boundary curves that we've created. Okay, so let's tab back into edit mode again. Let's start off with selecting all of these, E to extrude, S for scale, and G to grab. Just move them out like that. So now you can guess what's going to happen next. We're going to go through and you can see there we've got these. Let's go back to tweak mode and I'm just going to click that and make sure these are aligned with the curve object that we created earlier. Otherwise, what's the point, right? I'm just going to do it right. That's okay. And that's okay as well. So let's continue up here. Let's make sure we go to this curve there. Hold down control. Thereabouts. This one we can put that there. You can see where this is going. Just work your way down all of these vertices. Now don't worry about the spacing of these just yet, because I will be using loop tools to space the vertices out so they're evenly spaced out. But for now, let's just place them on the curve like that. It's nothing too difficult. You're just tracing the guides and we know that's a nice curve. Maybe put that one there. And finally, that one can go. Let's snap it to there. Okay, so that's pretty good. So as I said just a second ago, what I'm going to do is make sure you have loop tools installed. So go to add-ons or extensions and go to install from disk once you've downloaded it. And you want to, not downloaded it, it comes with Blender. What am I saying? Crazy talk. Search for loop tools and just enable it and you're done. And loop tools, if you've never used it, it's got some really cool features, tools I should say. They should be under, there we go, under edit in the sidebar there. Press N to show the sidebar. You can see we've got these lovely tools there. So with those selected, I'm going to right click, select loop tools, and then select space. You can see that's done a great job of splitting them up, or not splitting them up, separating them nicely. Let's do the same for these three here. And you could select these individually, but you'll see me doing a lot. If I click that and then click over here, I've selected everything in between those two. And that's by holding down the control key. And Blender will select the shortest path between those 2 points. So if I select this point and this point with control key held down, I've selected the shortest path. Right, let's right click, loop tools, space. Let's do that for these guys. And finally, these ones here. Great, good time to save our work. Let's go back to object mode and make sure you do save, of course, frequently as well. And create incremental saves. Otherwise, if you lose the file, well, it can happen. So keep it back up. Right, let's continue that methodology or workflow process now. So many words. With these selected, we can press extrude and move them up like so. And while you've got those selected, you can press R to rotate them to try and match it up. Help us to save us a bit more work. Let's do that on the X only. So SX, G for grab. And that's pretty good. Right there. Almost there. And to help us a bit more, I'm going to select that point there and do Shift S, bring the 3D cursor to selected, and I'm going to deselect everything. Press C to get the selection circle or brush. Using the mouse wheel to change the size. All I'm going to do is select all of these vertices apart from the one at the end. Well, that doesn't really matter if you do. And with that, we're going to change our transform pivot point to 3D cursor, which is there, remember. Press R to rotate, and we can just rotate it like that. If I keep an eye on that, if we press SX, and then rotate it, holding down the shift key to get fine control. SX, hold down the shift key. And that's pretty good. You could leave it like that actually. That's pretty good. Doesn't have to match that exactly, right? Let's save that. And we do the same again. So select these. Remember, I'm holding down control to select all of those. Press E to extrude and bring them up there near the top curve that we've got. Press S for scale. Oops, and you can see we've got the transform pivot is still down at the 3D cursor. Let's change that back to medium point. So S for scale. G for grab. Let's put that there. So I'm really looking to put that about there. It says going right in there. So again, I'm going to put the 3D cursor there with Shift S, cursor to selected, and then click, Control click. And I want to use that as my pivot point. So we can do 3D cursor there, rotate around that point, holding down Control. And let's SX to bring that out a little bit like that. And that's close enough. And we do have a much more aggressive curve going on there. So before we get carried away, let's put that back to medium point and reset our transform back to world origin. So Shift S, put the cursor back to the world origin so it doesn't get in the way. And now we're going to just click. I'm in tweak mode, remember. Just click and drag these. Now, if you want to be a bit more precise than that, you could just grab one and press GG, and that will slide it along the curve, and that way you've got hopefully the distance all uniform. We don't have to worry about that. We can use loop tools to do that. So I'm just going to place these manually. It's much quicker than having to keep pressing GG. Right, cool. Let's select the first one, last one with control, right click, loop tools, and space, the final frontier. My God, I'm so sorry for my jokes. Right, object mode, save that, and we've got this lovely profile of our hand blade. Now, of course, we have nothing resembling a curve there. So what do you think we need to do? I'll give you 3 guesses, or 1, because I'm feeling generous. Let's add some loop cuts in that for now. So Control R, hover over this area, and we get 1. Scroll our mouse wheel, get 2. Click, right click to confirm. Now we have these perfectly added loop cuts. So let's just click and drag these to near our curve. That's looking a bit off there, so let's click these as well. That's looking way off. Oh, of course I did that differently, didn't I? So that's fine. Yep, that's good. Oops, front view. So I'm going to click this one now, and then select the last one here. So just the ones we've just added there, and I'm going to right click again, loop tools, space. You don't have to do that. I mean, it's close enough. That's looking pretty good. So we now have our curve there. So the only issue that I can see here now is down here, all of this area down here is all a bit weird in that we've got these kind of long quads. Again, nothing wrong with that. They're fine, but we don't have enough topology there. I want to make this ever so slightly curved. So Control R, we're going to add 2 loop cuts like that. And again, right click to confirm that. So now we've got that, which is much better. And that's something we can work with to add a bit more of a curve. So if this is coming out like this at the top, oops, coming out at the top like this, we can then come down and then inwards. Oops, why am I on line? Oh, annotate. We can go down like that and come to a point. That's what I want to try and do. Let's get rid of that. Magic. Back to select box. I think next what we'll do is create some damage. So let's switch back to the side view, or the front view I should say. Well, technically this is the side view for the blade. But anyway, pedantics. If we turn on X-ray at the top there, like that, tap into edit mode, and where do we want to put these notches? Anywhere you like is the answer to that. It doesn't have to be as per the sketch. Literally do what you like. So I'm going to add one around here. I'm not even going to follow where it is with the sketch because it overlaps with topology, i.e. these edges here. So that would just make things more complicated. So I can just make that somewhere else, basically. Right, anyway, enough waffling. Let's make a notch somewhere near the front. So I reckon around there would be quite nice. So what I want to do is press the K key to bring up the knife tool, which is just on the side here. It's not even giving me the overlay now. Anyway, press the K key, and that will snap to edges and vertices, yada yada. So now we can just click away and make some cuts. So for example, I'll make a cut from this edge to about so. And I'm going to avoid making them pointy. I'm just going to give them, make them square-ish, or have 4 sides anyway is what I mean. So let's maybe go there and then click on that edge there. If you want to stop cutting, just right click and then press enter. Now we have a face there. Now switch to face mode, 3 on the numpad. No, ignore that. 3 on your top row of numbers on your keyboard. Select the face and delete it. Whoosh. You can see now we have, let's turn wireframe off. You can see now we have a notch there. Pretty big notch. Of course, if it's too big, just go back, switch to maybe something like that, press G, maybe grab that, bring it in a little bit, maybe bring that a bit more, make it a bit more organic, like that. Okay, do the same thing over here. That's pretty good. Let's go with that. I'm not going to add a cut at the top. I know I've done one on the sketch, but when I thought about it, it didn't really make sense. Because normally you're, pushing this downwards, not upwards. But anyway, I digress. Right, with that done, let's turn our wireframe back on because I like to see what I'm working with. Edit mode on this again. You can see we've got n-gons here. All of there. All of there, all of these are n-gons, which we don't want. We want to make these triangles and quads, because don't forget this is a game ready, in quotes. So let's make these a bit more sensible. So we can select these two vertices there and press the J key to join them. Wonderful. And we could just go this way. Let's do that, press J. And I might as well turn that into a triangle just there as well. So I'm going to press J there, and also here, and also this way there. Now the reason I'm doing that, in fact this one's wrong, I think I should go the other way. And did you know you can go to edge, not face, edge, and we can do rotate edge clockwise or counterclockwise. So I'm going to rotate this going this way, so I might as well rotate it counterclockwise. I want it going this way. That's looking good. Okay, next we'll look at making some holes in the topology at the top there. I probably won't make as many as I've got in the sketch, just enough to give you the essence of the look and feel of the weapon.